It's Friday, and that cannot be a bad thing. It's sometime or another in the afternoon. James and I have had a pretty slow morning. I woke up at about 10 o'clock. I did not have a hangover. My trick of drinking squash alongside the carver last night meant I did not wake up dehydrated, headachy and hungover, so I'm counting that one as a win. This morning I've been watching through old episodes of London's Burning. I've been doing a bit of editing and I've been doing some knitting. I mean, I only changed out my pyjamas about 10-15 minutes ago so that I could record this. James is having his lunch at the moment, and that's basically the update for today. Oh, no, I forgot. I did a load of laundry, and James has done some ironing. There you go. Those are the exciting updates. So one of the shirts that I was ironing on Monday, James wore over the week. He's put it in the laundry, and he was going to try ironing it when it was wet to see if that made a difference in getting it smoother and straighter out. And what he found is that the crinkles, when he ironed it, it flattened out the crinkles, but then when he moved the shirt around, other bits then started to crinkle. So what would happen is the bits that hadn't been ironed would crinkle up and therefore would distort and pull out the bits that had been ironed. So even though the bits that had been ironed, they would still get pulled and distorted and slightly crinkled out of shape. So yeah, I think of it like stacking bananas. This won't make any sense to anybody but me. See, my brain just works weirdly. When I was doing work experience at secondary school very many years ago, I did it in the local branch of Sainsbury's. And there was one day, one of the things I did was stacking bananas. Boxes and boxes of bananas. I think I stacked about 24 boxes of bananas, and by the time I'd finished, the shelf looked exactly the same as when I'd started it. Because as soon as I pulled the bananas out of the boxes and put them on the shelves, somebody else came and took them off the shelf. So it was a constant. Didn't matter how many bananas I put on the shelf, they were going at about the same rate as I was putting them out. So if I have a task in my life, ever since then, I've thought of it as stacking bananas, like stacking bananas. But again, that's an analogy that would only make sense to me. Analogy? Simile. That's a simile that would only be applicable to me, unless you understood the way my brain works. Anyway, right. Today, this afternoon, I'm going to do more knitting. I'm going to do more editing. I probably should go into the garden and see what the bees are doing and say hello to the bees. I really need to do some gardening. I'm just not in the mood for doing that today. The shoes I was wearing for our walk yesterday weren't particularly supportive and comfortable. So actually when I woke up this morning, my feet are slightly achy and I've got slightly achy calves. It's not a big problem, but I don't really want to be going into the garden and waking up even more achy tomorrow. I also found a whole load of buttons at the beginning of the week. So I need to go through those in conjunction with the buttons in my button jar and see if I can find pairings and match up some of the buttons. I'm not sure though. I genuinely don't know if that's going to happen, but I have got more buttons now than will fit into my button jar. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Oh yes, and there's chocolate to eat. That's another thing I might do today. Chocolate. I've just been messing around with James's glasses. He says they make me look half school teacher, half French au pair. But then he clarified that by saying the good type of French au pair.
Wait, where's my mommy and daddy?
It's like hide and seek. You like hide and seek, right? Well, we're gonna hide out here and wait for your daddy to find us.
It's Friday's Channel 5 movie. How have we got to the end of the week so quickly? Missing daughter. A recently adopted child has gone missing and it's up to her new parents to find her. As if adopting a child is not stressful enough. Final Channel 5 movie of the week. Based on true events. Now that's a first. Evil Nanny.
We need to talk about what happened with Ethan.
St Mary's Home for Wayward Girls. When is this set? The 1940s? And doesn't the makeup artist know that you can get waterproof eye makeup these days? The Trips decide to let their nanny go after she neglects her duties. What they don't expect is her unwillingness to leave. The nanny has made herself comfortable in their home and moves into the kitchen cupboard, sets up a tent in the garden. I'd almost say it's worth watching to find out, but nah.
Morning, Mr. Beasley. How'd you manage this? Well, we're just mucking about. Martin, my colleague, and me. We're sitting on the glass and making photocopies of.
We tried to lift him, but it was too dangerous with the glass. I turned the power off.
And Mr. Compton Price wishes to see you, Martin.
Yes, Mrs. Wixton.
So I've started to go through my button collection. I actually think this is going to be a bigger process than I initially realised. I thought it was going to be relatively simple, but that's my button jar. Absolutely full to the brim. Those are the dark and neutral colours. Those in the bags there, I think have all come from clothing. So they're a couple of big buttons and a small button, or a big button and a small button in the same sort of colour and design. Oh, no, those are more black and neutral ones. And then up here, we've got ones which I've already gone through and marked off as different colours. So, green, blue, red, pink, purples. But then I found another bag of just multicoloured ones. So this is what I have to sort out. It's going to take a while. Pretty much it for Friday. We've watched Pointless because that's just something James and I do together. I've eaten a bit more Easter egg whilst I was doing it. I've done some more knitting. We've just been watching on I think it was the ITV local news. They were showing footage of London in the lockdown, including shots of Victoria Station, which is one that James and I use during rush hour, and it was really, really weird just seeing this completely empty station without a single person around, whereas on normal days when it's rush hour you cannot move. I mean, there have been days when I've been to Victoria Station and I've had to wait 5-10 minutes to get onto the platforms for the underground because it's so crowded. They close the gate line. So that was really strange. Gogglebox is on later this evening. We've got Richard Osman's House of Games. It's the final episode of the week this week. That's another thing that we like watching. And I think this evening is going to be kind of chilled out. We've got chilli for dinner, jelly for pudding, and the ice cream which I bought yesterday, which we didn't actually eat yesterday. After all that, after the going out and queuing and all the rest of it, and James persuading me I really should be going out yesterday to buy ice cream, we didn't eat the ice cream I bought. And one thing from yesterday, though, that did make me a little bit sad was I said to the assistant behind the till that actually I'd prefer to use the self-service tills. There's the wind. Yeah, I said I would prefer to use the self-service tills because I had coins I wanted to get rid of. My purse is quite coin heavy at the moment, or was yesterday. So I thought use the self-service tills, get rid of any coins, and then I'm not passing coins with anything that may be on them over to shop staff. But when I said this to the lady behind the till, she said thank you. Apparently quite a few people have been going and trying to give her coins and money rather than contactless. And it just made me so sad that that was something she felt she had to thank me for. That there are people going into the shop that are either oblivious or just don't care about the health and well-being of shop staff. It's just like, really? Really, people? Really? Also realised as well that I'm doing this I'm saying it's social history, but because I am deliberately avoiding the government briefings, there's all of the other stuff which I'm missing out on recording. So, for example, today the government started sign-ups for COVID testing, I think it is. Apparently by 9 o'clock this morning, the government website was full with applications. I think the aim is to test 10,000 people, 10,000 key workers a day for the next week. So that's happened. There's been talks of a vaccine, but the scientists are having discussions about which ways of doing it. I think it's about that. I don't know. I don't understand high-level science, I will have to say that. But there are talks of a vaccine being developed. And this morning we woke up to news that President Trump had suggested to people that they start injecting disinfectant as a way of killing the virus. I mean, it will cure people if they have the virus, but not in the way he thinks.